going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Wrestling Junkies Podcast with Mr. Cincinnati. And as always, I am joined by the podcast dad himself. Choops, how you doing, man?
You are joined by greatness, yes. Man, this coffee thing might be something that's going to keep happening. I'm enjoying my late night coffees now.
You're feeling holier than the fact that you're calling 6:30 a late night coffee is you're really showing your age.
It is. I'm going to be in bed in about 3 hours.
Yeah, no, we're going to dinner after this, so we're gonna.
Of course you are.
Have what?
I didn't say.
What we can do that. I'm just saying, like
we're popping cans, yeah.
Yeah, little Kugel.
It wasn't you.
Whatever. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for joining us on this episode of the Wrestling Junkies Podcast, the last episode of the week. Before we get started, as always, hit that QR code in the top left corner, like, share, subscribe. It takes you directly to all of our social media platforms. Chris, hit him with that magic number as we make our march to 1,000. One.
It's just one.
One person. One person, please do us a favor, share the podcast with them, hit that subscribe button, join the Wrestling Junkies family. We got some people in the crowd right now. Shout out to Mr. OTM. He's taking a well-deserved night off tonight. No OTM, but they will be back next week. But congratulations on 5 years of Main Event Network. Yeah, brand new merch out. Make sure to give them a follow at mainevent_net. All things wrestling, fan art, blogs, phenomenal podcasts. We great group of people that we've been working with the last 8 or 9 months or so. Daniel's back again. Hello, greetings from the UK. 29 minutes to midnight is only 6:30 p.m. here. Don't let the podcast dad's tiredness fool you. That's just generally being a dad. But Will from Gorilla Press understands. And speaking of Gorilla Press, make sure that you are using promo code WJP2024 for 25% off of your order site-wide. And just announced today the first Gorilla Press wrestler collaboration as a result of the Wrestling Junkies involving the stiff Robo Ginger, unsigned and don't care Gary J. Brand new design coming soon. Check out at Gorilla Press APP on X, at Gorilla Press Apparel on Instagram to check out these new designs. Again, if you're a wrestler, if you're a promoter, if you're a referee, if you need merch for those tables, hit up Gorilla Press Apparel. Will does amazing work. Always great to see him in the chats as well. Yeah, don't forget to use our WWE Shop affiliate link as well. It costs you absolutely nothing to continue to support the Wrestling Junkies podcast. This is the perfect place to get some new title belts, exclusive merch, T-shirts. I mean, you need it. They have it. It's WWE Shop, and they deliver fast.
They do.
Like, really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, make sure to support us. The money that we earn, we use a lot of this to reinvest, support our merch store as well, get that snazzy support independent wrestling T-shirt as well as the coffee mug that the podcast dad sips his coffee out of every night. I know that he wishes that there was a hat. That might be a Gorilla Press thing. I don't like
shout out TWE.
Shout out for TWE. Yeah, shout out to TWE. Speaking of TWE, they do make a really good help. Oh God. Okay.
I'm sorry. I interrupt you too much. I'm sorry.
It's do you want to start reading these from now on, or do we need to come up with a new system?
Nope. I want you to hurry up so we can get to our guests because it's a big show tonight.
Yes. Also exclusive goes live in 30 minutes. The Gorilla Press Gary J. I said Jerry. Anyway, that collaboration, Gary J. Gorilla Press goes live in 30 minutes. See, you got me all flustered, man. It's your fault. I blame you. I know. Kyle is here for Big Trouble. There's a lot of meat here tonight. So real quick, before we introduce our guests, a few matches that we want to promote. We have got Battle for Sale Creek. That's coming up September 7th. All proceeds benefit Sale Creek Middle School. We have got the likes of Manders, Adam Priest, Finesse, who was on the show earlier this week, Cody Fluffman, Tim Bosby, and so many more. This weekend, Summit Wrestling, one more mountain to climb. That we has the likes of Common MK, Red Dog, TJ Sykes, Studio Andino, Mason Walls, so many more. That is also sponsored by the Main Event Wrestling Network as well. And we've also got Neo Pro Wrestling coming up this Saturday, I believe that it is, from Salem, Ohio. Rhino, former TNA and WWE star, will be in the building for that one. That will be streaming on indiewrestling.us, also sponsored by our friends at Gorilla Press Apparel. Also, check out Action Wrestling tomorrow night live on IWTV, another show sponsored by the Wrestling Junkies Podcast. Bobby Flacco, Alex Kane, number one contendership for the Action World title. It's Bamaya versus AO. I'm not ready for it.
We'll see what happens. I don't have a great feeling for Bobby. Alex Kane's a beast.
Bobby's gonna, yeah. I mean, yeah, but so is Bobby. So let's
I know.
give him
Alex
the benefit
Kane's
of the
a beast,
doubt here. He is. I'm not saying he's not. No, I'm not gonna say that he's not. But speaking of beasts, though, we got two waiting in the wings tonight, and I think that they've heard me talk enough, and you interrupt me enough. So,
God. No, thank you. Let's go.
Tonight, we have the privilege of welcoming one of the brightest stars in independent wrestling right now, Sam Holloway. He is 24 years old, and he's already making a name for himself with his unique combination of size, power, speed, athletic ability. He wrestled at ETU's Summer Madness show that we sponsored a couple of weeks ago, and then we got to see him a week later at AIW. I think the first words out of your mouth were, "That's Mike Awesome," right there.
Yep.
Basically, were your exact words. Despite only being 24, he's already shared the ring with Matt Cardona, Masato Tanaka, Filthy Tom Lawler, Sandman, Swoggle, so many more. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring him on in here. Sam Holloway, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you?
Oh, I think you're on me. There it is. There it is.
We got you now. Yeah, we're great, man. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Greatly appreciate it.
You hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. You guys are good.
Okay.
Perfect.
Cool. Hell
Perfect.
yeah. All right. Well, Sam. Yeah, let's get right on into it. Here at the Wrestling Junkies Podcast, when we look at professional wrestling, it is superheroes, supervillains. They clash, but the one thing they do have in common are origin stories. So, Sam, tell us about some of your earliest memories of pro wrestling, man.
Yeah, so some of my earliest memories are obviously, like everyone else, just watching as a kid, falling in love with certain wrestlers. For me, it was Jeff Hardy. And then, like most people do, you kind of grow out of wrestling. So throughout my teenage years, I fell into sports like football and basketball. And then throughout high school, I kind of fell back into love with pro wrestling while also still involved with football and basketball. And eventually I got a scholarship to play football. And then about 2 days in, I left for pro wrestling school. So that's kind of my story, how I got into pro wrestling.
Who were some of those early influences? I know you mentioned Jeff Hardy a little bit, but who are some of those ones that you looked up to and can go, that's what I want to do in the ring?
Yeah, Jeff Hardy, obviously, and then people like John Cena. Obviously, with my age, John Cena was the guy. Randy Orton from a heel standpoint, just because of how much people hated him, and then comedy people like R-Truth and Regal, who were just entertaining to watch all the time.
Yeah. Regal can do it all. That's one that doesn't get thrown out a bunch, but man, that's a good one. That's a good one.
He's so underrated when it comes to the comedy aspect, and sort of like, at least when I was a kid growing up, it just didn't really do anything for me. But if I look at it now, it's like shit. We were pretty spoiled to have Regal around as long as we did.
Right. Exactly.
So let's fast forward. You decided to get into the business. You trained with AIW. What was the decision about that school in particular for you?
So out of college football, I did take a visit to a couple of different wrestling schools, and most of the wrestling schools I visited asked me to debut that weekend, which didn't really make me feel right. So when I took the visit to AIW school, they told me, you're going to train for a year before you even see a live show. So when they told me that, I knew that was the right situation, because they would actually take the time to make sure that I was ready, instead of just me being 6'6". They're just going to throw me out there to the wolves. So that's what I think I knew I was going to learn the most within AIW.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, and Eric mentioned it kind of in the intro, but I mean, first thing out of my mouth when I saw you do some stuff was like, "Holy shit, that's Mike Awesome!" And I hope that you take that as a compliment. But how do you feel about the comparison? And is Mike Awesome someone that that you've watched and looked up to, or how has he been involved?
So I'll be honest, I knew of Mike Awesome. I didn't really study Mike Awesome personally while training and everything, but then once Twitter and social media rolled around and everyone just comparing me to Mike Awesome, I mean, I had to do some film, and I definitely do see the similarities with the dives and being as big as I am with the athleticism. I mean, it's hard not to realize the similarities at this point. But I do.
I just don't get a perm and go that 70s guy route. Like, just don't do that. Just go the old ECW stuff, and you'll be good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So who was kind of the first person that saw you moving around and said, all right, well, you can fly, we can send you over the top rope. These are things that, we know that you can do. What was the, inspiration for you to decide, all right, yeah, let's give it a try?
So, story with me, like doing the flying around and stuff. So in my debut match at AIW, I was in a 6-man tag where there was a dive spot in the match, and me mistakenly being a rookie didn't go on in the right cue, so I was just standing in the ring by myself with everyone looking at me. So I was like, I guess I'm diving. And so kind of everyone realized at the same time that I could do a dive or do these athletic maneuvers. So it was kind of everyone at once. It wasn't really just one person.
You made your debut at the Mecca during ETU. What was that experience like? Because that's such a legendary venue for independent wrestling. How was that experience?
Yeah, the Mecca and the ETU was awesome. I mean, I went into that show with a steal the show mentality, with it being my first time in the Mecca wrestling in New Jersey, wrestling for a promotion like ETU, which I was able to work for once before that show. I definitely went into that show like wanting to make sure that they bring me back for another, and I just wanted to do everything that I could to give all the fans their money's worth and show them what I have. So it was definitely like a super cool moment to realize like all the history that's been in the Mecca, and then to be able to put on a show at the Mecca.
Hell yeah! And then just a week later, you're part of SummerSlam weekend. AIW, I mean, they had their thumbprint on just about everything as far as wrestling during that entire weekend. Scramble matches on the indies are, they're an important part of an indie show, and personally one of my favorites. So, when it comes to knowing that you're going to, have one of those scramble matches, take us through the mentality of preparing for that, knowing you've got so many different skill sets. I mean, there were the likes of Darian Bankston, Dex Royal, Trey Lamar. I mean, so many people, different sizes, different athletic abilities. Like, what do you do to prepare for those multi-man kind of situations?
So the mentality I always have walking into like a scramble or a multi-man is it is your job to reawaken the crowd if they're dead or keep the crowd going. Yeah. So with every opponent in the match and all those different styles, you want to make sure every style is represented well. So it's all about just finding the correct order to lay things out, and then also just thinking about the fans, because you're only going to be out there for about 8 minutes, so you want to carry on the match to make sure the fans are satisfied and they got to view everyone and make sure everyone had the spotlight.
Yeah,
I like it.
Not only a part of that show during SummerSlam weekend, I learned today that you were on SummerSlam during Logan Paul's entrance. And I know we talked a little bit about it pre-show, but can you tell kind of the viewers like how that came about and what it's like being an extra for WWE?
Yeah, so I don't know how much I can talk about it.
Sure.
It's a great experience being asked. And it's just cool that they're asking independent wrestlers to help out in ways like that. But to be honest, I don't know how much I'm allowed to speak on it, but it's just a very cool opportunity to get to work with.
For sure. I mean, WWE aside, you've had the chance to share the ring with guys like, Matt Cardona, Masato Tanaka, who again, famous rival of Mike Awesome, Sandman. Like what, when you share the ring with these guys, what's your approach to making sure that you soak up everything like a sponge and learning what you can from them?
I was saying the main thing with going in the ring with them is just learning as much as possible and making sure that I'm a better wrestler walking out of it. I'll use Matt Cardona as an example because he was really the first big name that I was able to step in the ring with. And I would use him kind of like as a big highlight in my wrestling career because after him, I kind of viewed every match that I was going into a different way. Because Matt, he has the slogan "always ready," but he really is always ready. And just the way he works was like motivating to me for every match that I approach. So just getting the opportunity to just learn from all these people and just grow as a person and a professional just goes a long way.
A couple big names on that list. Anybody you're looking forward to in the future? Is there, you got an eye on somebody? Any dream matches you want to do?
I do know next week I'm in the ring with Jinder Mahal at Greektown Wrestling in Canada. I believe that show will be in Toronto. So that's going to be exciting. And then
look at that.
I've been
live on Triller.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Man,
it's share the ring with, but I'm hoping I can run it with him in a singles one day. Because I've done his seminar before, and I've talked to Elijah a lot, and there's just a lot that I've learned from him. So I'd love to share the ring with him in a singles one day as well.
I like it. As someone who's making a name for themselves so quickly in wrestling, especially given that combination of size, power, speed, what advice do you have for aspiring wrestlers that have similar stature as you, as far as wanting to break out, make a name for yourself, and trying to navigate these waters, knowing that you have that combination of skills?
Yeah, never take any handouts. Make sure that everything you do that you deserve. There's going to be a lot of opportunities that people are just wanting to give you things just because of your size, stature, and your athleticism. But it's much more meaningful when you earn it. So definitely never stop grinding and always have focused on your end goal, but also have goals that give you the goal on the way there. So just continue to grind. Don't slow up. Just stay working.
Speaking of that grind, what does the back half of the year for Sam Holloway look like, and what are the goals for the back half of the year?
It's for the back half. It's just kind of stay busy. Over these past month or two, I've been very blessed. I do have a lot of bookings coming up. So it's just continue to stay busy and just stay available, stay healthy.
I like it. Very cool. Well, Sam, you have answered every question magnificently here, and as we wrap up our time here, we have probably the hardest question that you're going to get. Not sure if you're familiar with how we tend to wrap up these interviews, but there's one very important question that we ask around here at the Wrestling Junkies podcast, because it is a source of friction for my esteemed co-host and I. Here goes. When you hear the moniker Mr. WrestleMania, do you think Shawn Michaels or The Undertaker?
Undertaker, easily.
Damn. I guess right. I should have assumed that, given the
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's fair. No, I get
Smart.
it.
Let's see. I knew it. The second I saw him, I liked him. I knew it.
Right. It will always come down to the streak versus the quality of matches. I feel like
Taker's 2-0.
Yeah, for sure.
I get that, I get, it's a part of a much larger debate. The anniversary of Bad Blood's coming up, so we're compiling all of the responses here, and we're going to see who ultimately is Mr. WrestleMania based on these interviews. But Sam, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Before we let you go, where can everybody find you on social media?
Yeah, so all social medias is Sam H. Holloway. Holloway spelled Hollo way, not H-A. A lot of people spell H-A, so it's H-O. It's Sam H. Holloway on all social media.
Love it. Well, Sam, thank you once again. Best of luck to you next weekend against Raj and that triple threat, and the rest of 2024 as a whole. And hopefully we'll have you back on soon, okay?
Hey, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Always. Take care.
Thank you, Sam.
Once again, thank you to Sam Holloway for joining us tonight, and thank you to everybody that is watching out there. Again, just one more time, just a reminder, hit this QR code, follow us on all of our social media platforms. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and we need your help to get there. Chris, how many people? Just one. There's like 80 of you guys watching right now. If 80 of you know at least one person who would enjoy our show, please do us a favor, share it with them, hit that subscribe button. We are live 4 days a week with phenomenal content, great interviews. Follow the Main Event Wrestling Network, good group of people that we work with, and just trying to grow this community as best we can and have some fun talking some professional wrestling. I mean, what's cooler than that, man?
Nothing. So nothing.
No.
But I know something that is cooler.
I know someone that is cooler.
Yeah, something we're about to do. So let's shut up and let's get to it.
Thanks. Yeah. No, this our next guest has been taking wrestling by storm, both in and out of the ring. You might know him as Minutes Maximus for the way that he maximizes all of his opportunities. He's the funny video guy. You have seen him on AEW Rampage. It's hard not to miss that gift that is just around everywhere. He's nearly 7 feet tall. He is meat popping, jaw dropping, earthquaking, pillar shaking, 6'12", 15% of a metric ton, larger than life, hotter than hell, and sometimes definitely bigger than the both of us. Fresh off of an AEW debut and a successful title defense at Disruptor Pro Wrestling, please welcome Big Trouble Ben Bishop to the show. Ben, what's going on, man?
You took my whole goddamn moniker. I was ready to go. I had it all ready. I was psyching myself up. I had it all, and then you took it. You took it all. And I'm here. Let's bring the energy up a little bit. Come on, because the sun never sets on a cool guy. That's why I got the shades on. So what's up, fellas? It's great to be here with you both.
Hold on. Don't let Mr. Cincinnati steal your thunder. Ben, can you do the intro for us?
Do the. I mean, now I got to go back. Earthquake, pillar shaking, meat popping, jaw dropping, standing at 6'12", weighing in at 15% of a metric ton. The humor of the humorless, the innovator of benevolence, the man made for TV, the one they come to see. BT Double B. Big Trouble Ben Bishop is here on the Wrestling Junkies Podcast.
I mean, come on.
Yeah,
come on. That was so much better than his.
You know what? Go yourself, Troops. All right.
No, thanks.
No, you did a good job. You did your research. I appreciate it. So many don't. Many don't. One time I got on a podcast, someone goes in, now we're bringing on big time Ben Bishop. I'm like, I'm just going to quit. I'm stopping. I'm logging off. I'm logging off. Come on now. Come on. Don't kill the gimmick.
No, never.
No, not around these parts. I mean, honestly, it's still a bit of a shock that we're actually getting to share the screen with you. So thank you so much for joining us, man. At the end of the day,
I'm just Ben. It's all good. I love it. I love talking to people. I can talk. That's for damn sure. And so I'm very happy to be here. One thing I need to bring up before we start, I wrote it in the chat.
Please do.
Legendary Ridgefield Park Knights of Columbus. I hope you're saying that ironically, not seriously. Because, man, hold on 1 second, boys. Let me close before my wife yells at me.
No, do your thing.
We don't want that.
Oh, I'm not married, so yeah, I don't want to
close the door for a sec. So I'm talking too loud. But yeah, no, Ridgefield Park Knights of Columbus, legendary. Come on, PD. Come on. Come on.
Just say, you know.
You're giving that place a little too much credit, that's for sure. But no, it's fun to be here. Let's get things started before I talk everyone's ear off at the ready to start.
No, it's okay. Appreciate it. Yeah. No. Same question that we always ask. Ask every guest. We ask it with Sam first. We look at wrestlers, the superheroes, supervillains that clash. All have origin stories. So Ben, tell us about some of your earliest memories of pro wrestling.
Yeah, man, I'm a bit older than Sam, about 10 years older than him, so I definitely got some earlier memories. But I started watching wrestling, man. I watched WCW. I wasn't a WWE guy, WWF guy at the time. I eventually got into it, but I was first guy I caught my eye was Kevin Nash, if you can believe it. He really obviously just a guy being, no pun intended, but larger than life. Big, cool, awesome, just stealing the spotlight every time he went out there. And not just being like the big bodyguard, goofy gimmick, right? He was out there being cool as hell. So I was instantly drawn to that. I was drawn to that type of wrestling. Like that's the part of wrestling I like, the showmanship of it. I love like the pageantry, right? I wasn't like, ooh, wow, look at these cool technical moves. I wasn't that. Yeah. I didn't care about that. I cared about the stories. I cared about just the characters. And like Kevin Nash was someone that really stood out. And then of course, once I started watching more, Kane, Undertaker, obviously a Big Show, going back about like Psycho Sid, and all like just the guys who just exuded charisma, whether it be verbally, whether it be just physically exuding that charisma. And to this, and then I just always was a huge fan. I didn't have friends that liked wrestling growing up. So all my friends were sports fans, which, that's the way I connected with them. But, to me, I loved wrestling so much. I loved it. And nobody really watched it with me. It was just me. Yeah. I just watched it on my own. And they all knew, they respected it, but they were like, we ain't watching it. Like, well, you can be a fan. Well, you're not going to make fun of you for it, but we ain't watching this. Don't you know it's fake? I'm like, come on, guys. Come on. Stop.
Yes.
Stop.
Yes.
But no, yeah. And then, I played basketball my whole life. Played some Australian football, and then eventually stumbled into wrestling. Really, I just went to a show one day, and Gilbert saw me, and he said, "Hey, are you a worker?" And I go, I have a job, because I wasn't an internet fan.
Yeah,
man. I didn't know the lingo. I just watched the TV show and enjoyed it, right? Or more people should. But then and then he's like, "Well, you want to try this?" And I go, "Sure." I don't know what the hell. He's like, "Let me introduce you to Jimmy." So he walks me over to James Ellsworth, and I was just like, "All right." He's like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "Again, I'm just Ben." Yeah. And he's like, do you want to wrestle? And I was like, "Sure." It's like in Ready to Rumble. I was like, "Oh, yeah, you want to wrestle Sal Bandini, right?" Or what Sal Bandini? You want to wrestle? Showing my age with that reference too. But no, so then the next day, literally in Hanover, PA, I just got in a ring for the first time, took my first bump, questioned if I ever wanted to do it again. And now we're here. Taking a few more since then. So
just a couple.
So
obviously, natural charisma. Was it always like this growing up? Were you the class clown?
I got in trouble for it a lot. Yeah. I remember coming home with the report card, always dreading if I saw that too talkative or class clown or something. My dad was never happy with that. He was a clown, which was funny because he was a clown himself, but he was just like, when you're in school, you need to be serious. But I was just like, what do you want I'm going to do, man? I'm already standing out. Might as well. If people are going to be looking at me, I might as well give them something to look at. So I had to be somewhat entertaining. So I was always, even when I was a kid, and I'd always put on. I'd always be performing for my family. I've always had that itch to want to be a performer, want to do something like that. So wrestling was just the coolest thing because it mixed athleticism and performing, right?
Yeah.
So and storytelling and all that. So it was just perfect. I loved playing basketball. I played at the Division I level. I loved it. I had a great time there. A great group. I'll say a lot of success as a team. And I went to NCAA tournament a few times. It was great. I wouldn't change it for everything, but I've always loved professional wrestling. So I was finally at 29 years old when finally I said, you know what, I got to do this because it's either now or never. I was happy I finally just pulled the trigger and stopped being afraid. Right. Shit will get off the pot. So thankfully I shit.
Thankfully he shit. And we're all thankful you shit.
Thank you.
So how long were you in the business before, just because we've had a few people asking about bringing back wrestling, the podcast. So how long were you in wrestling before you decided to get behind the microphone?
Yeah. I mean, well, I when it comes to wrestling, I did a little bit with Brandon Walker. It was just one day I kind of just I was just on Twitter and he was like, I saw a clip of him saying something like, I want to be a wrestling manager. And I was just like, I'll shoot my shot and say, you can manage me. And it took a right place, right time. He just was looking at his phone and he said, all right, tell me more, basically. Yeah. I told him who I was. And, I already knew Jake Marsh at Barstool, and he kind of said oh yeah, this guy's legit. Go close to 7 feet tall, and so Brandon, being a fan of 80s, 90s wrestling, was like, yep, let's do it. So yeah, he was a manager for me on a few shows. Then he started up wrestling. I can say that I was his inspiration for wrestling because it came right after he started doing some shit with me. Yeah. And Brandon's a busy guy. Unfortunately, we couldn't do too much. But I was fortunate to link up with Nicky the Good. You can find him on Twitter as well. He's one hell of a producer. He's also one hell of a character. And he should be in front of the camera, not behind the camera. But he's a guy of many talents. And we started the Meat Pop Express podcast. But he's starting up wrestling. We're taking a little bit of a hiatus from that right now. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, bring it back at some point. But we're doing our own thing and. I think Nicky is one hell of a talented individual, and I hope he gets his opportunity to get back in front of the camera, be more part of wrestling. He's kicking ass with the Restart right now, but I'm done putting him over. I'm back to put myself over. So yeah, no, I mean, I always knew also I could kind of talk, and I always wanted to be that type of big guy. I didn't want to. People when I started were saying oh, maybe you should be like a Viking or like a Tarzan guy or I'm like, what if I'm like, yeah, but I can talk. Like I can actually like be a character. I don't want to be the mute big guy, like brooding big guy and all this, and just like go out there and ooh, I'm a badass.
There's enough
guy.
of them, yeah.
There's enough of them, and you know what? If that's your thing, go right ahead and do it. No, but I just think it's goofy to me. Like I would never be able to do it. I wouldn't be able. I can't pull that off. Guys like Kane and Taker, obviously that's not who they are in real life. They're incredible that they were able to pull off that character. It's not easy, right?
No,
I'm just me. Big Trouble Ben Bishop is just Ben Crankett turned up to 11. That's all it is. Like, and that's just me. So it's not like this. I'm reaching for this character. I'm totally different in real life. It really is just me. So, and I always knew I could. So I love the microphone. I love performing. I love talking. It's my favorite part of wrestling. I look more forward to doing these videos and more forward to talking than I do in the matches sometimes. So, because that's what gets over more with the crowd. And I'm sure we'll get to that as we continue to talk. So,
for sure. So let's talk about it. Debuted on AEW. Congratulations on that.
Sure, goddamn did.
Big match.
Well, hell of a minute and 32 seconds, folks.
How was that experience? How did it feel like stepping into the AEW ring?
Well, I was there. So I was there twice before, but again, it was on Dark, right? So I was there 2021, wrestled Bear Bronson. 2022, wrestled Preston Vance. Two great guys, two awesome guys, two great wrestlers. I hope they're utilized more in the future. I think they have a lot to offer AEW. So shout out to those two guys. But they were both really good experiences. But again, it was Dark, right? And nothing against Dark. Dark's great. Everyone that worked Dark, that's an awesome experience. There's nothing, but it's not TV, right? And I know that. It's YouTube, and that's fine. But it's not like you're on national TV. So when I got there that day, I was just kind of, it was cool because I knew a lot more people now. Now I felt a little more comfortable. I'm really cool with the Iron Savages guys like Bear Bronson, Boulder, my good buddy Jack Jameson, hanging out with them. A lot of guys are knowing me now from the videos, so they're continuing to come up to me and be like, "Oh my God, you're the guy that does the videos. You're this tall. You look like that." And I'm like, "Yeah, and I guess you can't tell." So I was just kind of walking around, and then one of the producers comes up to me and goes, "You have a match, right?" I had no idea.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, when? He goes, am I on Collision, Rampage? Because they were filming Ring of Honor, Collision, Rampage, and then Ring of Honor again. But no, you're on Rampage. So I was like, okay, great. Who am I wrestling? It's like, Roddy. I was like, okay, how much time? We got 2 minutes. I go, oh, no way. Okay. So what are we going to do here? So Roddy, we talk what we're going to do. Not like I'm pulling back the curtain that much. It's been pulled back to the nth degree anyway. So we'd go over what we're going to do, this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, it is what it is, right? Like, I know what I am. I'm not the normal. I'm definitely not the normal looking enhancement talent. So it's funny that I was chosen to do this. So, I kind of, when I was figuring out how much time I had, I was kind of like, man, that sucks, man. Like, him being by size, and Roddy's unbelievable wrestler, one of the best in recent history. But there's a size difference, and like it's a 2-minute match. So so I'm like, man, this sucks, man. Like, I can't get more time. But then it clicked, right? Because I was already making these videos, and I'm like, I'm not gonna bitch, I'm not gonna moan, I'm not gonna sit here and have a pity party for myself. I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna do what I gotta do, but I'm gonna make the most of this. And I was happy it was Rampage because I had my content plan ready to go. I knew what I was going to do as soon as I had that match. I knew immediately, like, I'm going to make this something. I'm not going to sit here and just be like, hey, happy to be here on AW Rampage, like some dork. I'm going to go out there, and I am going to make the most of this. This minute and 30 seconds I was out there, that all I saw, I knew all I had, that I knew the only guarantee I had was that camera was going to be on me when they announced my name. And that was it. There was no other time that I knew that camera would be on me. So I'm like, I got to come up with something. And 5 minutes before I went out, I came up with the cheesiest grin and stupidest pose of all time. But you know what? As soon as I came back to the curtain, my buddy Jack Jameson says, dude, whatever that pose was so money. And you found the hard cam perfectly.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, well, we'll see how it goes. So, and then after that, I already had it in my head what I was going to do. The Creed highlight reel was 100% coming.
Yeah, perfect.
The reaction video with my wife was something else that I wanted to do. So I was just like, let's have fun with this, man, because here's the thing. here's the thing. I could sit there and, like I said, I could throw a pity party for myself, and I could feel bad, and I can say, why don't they want to use me in a bigger spot? Look at me. Look how tall I am. I mean, I'm aesthetically pleasing. I'm not trying to be cocky, but I am. So, and I'm like, why don't they want to use me more? Or I can listen to guys like Cardona, who's just like, you got to do it on your own. And I hear guys complain a lot. We're not getting enough TV time. We're not getting this. We're not getting that. And that's all, and I feel for them because it does suck. It sucks sitting in catering. It sucks sitting back there, not having anything to do. But at the end of the day, you can control your own destiny in a way, because I've seen guys do it. Look at Matt Cardona. Look at Joe Hendry. Look at Danhausen. Guys like that. And like even guys like Joey Janela, right? Guys who are very, very good at social media. And you can go on there and you can reach more people than watch some of these shows, than are watching some of these shows. Even more people watching like a SmackDown, which is like the highest rated show. Yeah. Right. Like you can see more people, you can get more people eyes on you. And then at the end of the day, more people are going to want to interact with you. And that's the way you interact with people, and you get people behind you if you're interacting with them. I had people tell me all the time, why do you like retweet and reply to so many people on Twitter? You don't see Roman Reigns doing it. It's like, my God, I'm not Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Like, there's like, what they did. Okay, Roman Reigns. Yeah, sure, he can get away with it. Go ahead. Like, I'm not Roman Reigns. I'm not The Rock. Like, I'm not John Cena. Like, you have to do this shit. Like, I'm not gonna sit there and just and like be like, oh no, I don't see the top guys doing this stuff or talking to people or interacting with people. Give me a break, dude. Get over yourself. Yeah. I don't want to hear that shit. No, I want to interact. I want to get people behind me, because everyone loves like a grassroots movement. Everyone loves that. Sure. You see it with you saw it with Joe Hendry, right? And I'm not trying to be Joe Hendry, but you know what? I ain't gonna reinvent the wheel either. Things work. Like all those guys I mentioned before, they did it. And so it's like, why not try to do something similar? I want to be relatable. I want to be genuine. And that's what comes off in my videos. That's what comes off in my tweets, everything. I'm genuine. I always say I'm just Ben, right? I'm not anything else. And I'm just having fun. And this is making me love wrestling again. It is. Yeah. This is the fun part. This is the fun part of it. Not the shit in the ring, this stuff.
Yeah. And like, another person that I saw that you got some advice from, Sam Adonis, treat wrestling like you don't need it. And you seem to do a lot of that in the content that you create, because I think that, when you see, some of the comedic videos, if no one has watched your content before, to think, oh, well, we don't know this guy is just kind of, just joking around, having fun, and enjoying his moment in his vacuum. No one's really going to see that. So take us through a little bit of how that mentality is, especially when you're creating content involving your wife and putting together these awesome things that she's probably just like, what the?
No, she is. You're right. No, she ain't really acting, honestly. So yeah, Sam Adonis, that was the best piece of advice I've ever gotten. And people give me, if you get advice from everybody, every Tom, Dick, and Harry in wrestling, but Sam Adonis gave me the most real advice ever. Just like, treat it like you don't need it. And it was true. I technically don't. I have a full-time job. I have a life outside of wrestling. I technically don't need wrestling. I love it and I want to do it. I don't need it. If it ended today, that'd suck. But you know what? My life will go on, right? But I'm not trying to. But I want to make it something, because I'm a creative person and I want to do this. Sure. So when it comes to my content, I've always just looked at wrestling and I'm like, because I started later, right? I'm 29 years old. I already lived life, right? I've had a life, and I've done real ass shit, right? College athletics, real full-time job, all this. I get into wrestling, I'm like, this is a goddamn traveling carnival. Like, this is unbelievable. I'm going to different places like New Jersey, Tennessee, seeing this stuff, and I'm like, is anybody here self-aware of what does anybody have this is funny. And I always would make jokes with friends of like just comedic, like shindy promoters and how they act, or like the guys who think they're big hot shots because they had a few dark matches at WWE, or, guys who are treating themselves like kings because they have a goddamn independent wrestling title around their waist.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm just like, is this serious? And luckily, I had a good trainer in James Ellsworth, because he made sure that like I never got caught up in that stuff, and he kept me grounded. He's like, celebrate your wins, but you want to get to the big time. Like, that's what matters. Like, this is cool. Like, you got to get your reps, and you got to, you got to get better on the indies, but don't do this clown shit where you're like acting like you're a hot shot, if you win a title or something like that. So I'm fortunate for that, but I could also see it for myself as well. So so then I was just one day after Sam told me that, I'm like, you know, I think I'm a naturally funny guy. I'm a naturally charismatic guy. You know, all I'm doing on Instagram, I'm like, why aren't more people paying attention to me? Why aren't more people look at me? I'm close to 7 feet tall. I'm in shape. I'm a good looking guy. Like, why isn't nobody paying more attention? I'm like putting up these videos of me in matches. Why doesn't anybody care? Like, you know, getting like 800 views, maybe if I'm lucky, you know, 1,000 if I'm lucky. You know, I'm like, what? Yeah. So I'm like, you know what? I got to show more of my personality here. This shit ain't going to do it. I'm going to go against the grain here. I'm not going to do the normal, like, oh, just, you know, mouth closed, ears open, you know, oh, just wait for it to come to you. It'll come, kid. Don't worry. You'll be fine. No, bullshit. It ain't coming. I gotta go get it. So that's what I did. So I said, you know, screw it. I'm going to go get it. And I'm like, I'm going to make these videos because I make fun of it all the time. I make fun of wrestling, how silly it can be. Why not just put it in video form? Everyone knows the type of people that I make fun of. Everyone knows that shindy promoter. Everybody knows one. Everybody knows that guy that thinks his shit don't stink. Everybody knows those type of people. The guy with the MMA gimmick who's never had an MMA match in his life and had a few matches. Everyone knows those type of guys. So it's like, so people are like, oh my God, it's relatable. And I'm doing it every day. So it's consistent, right? And it's genuine. Those are the top three things. Genuine, consistency, and relatability is what has really been working for me. So I seriously tell people this all the time. I've never enjoyed wrestling more than I have in the last year of doing this. This is what makes it fun for me and what makes me want to keep doing it. Because I tell people, last year at this time, I was ready to call it quits. I didn't want to do this anymore. I was so sick of it. I was sick of the carny bullshit. I was sick of the political bullshit. I was sick of guys that were tall guys getting spots, just getting hired out of absolutely nowhere, never taking a bump, never having an indie match in their life, never paying the dues, just somehow getting a job. I was so sick of that. I was over it. Yeah. And I was about to call it quits because I was just like, what am I doing? What am I doing wrong? Screw this. They don't want me. I'm done. But then, you know, thankfully, Sam reached out of nowhere. We had never met. We have never met. But he did. He told me out of nowhere. He just said to me, like, he just gave me this advice because he's like, you know, game respects game, I guess. And he saw something, and he's like, dude, you have something more. I can tell you have something more to give. And I'm like, I think I do. And he lit another fire under me, and you know, and here we are. You know, things are picking up. I'm loving what I'm doing now. I enjoy it. People are actually paying attention. People have reached out to me to go, you think you're going to get heat? Screw heat. Heat don't exist. Fuck heat. Dude, nobody cared about heat. Look at the guys through history, man. They don't care about heat. They don't care about heat, dude. Like, look at the CM Punks of the world. I'm not trying to compare myself to him. He's you know, couple head and shoulders above me. But, well, figuratively, not literally. But, I mean, but he's, you know, but like he don't care. And look at him, dude. We want to connect with the people. I'm not trying to pop the boys in the back, even though they do pop for a lot of the videos. But, you know, I'm trying to connect with the actual people watching, not the niche audience. I want to connect to a larger audience. That's what I'm trying to do. And, you know, and that's been my plan for the past year. It's like, just go out and get it done, man. Don't wait. I got to stop waiting for this. I got to go. I'm 34, man. I can't wait any longer. I got to go. I got to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what would you say, like, to aspiring wrestlers, and not the, you know, you just went on a great,
not that make me feel tangent. Your match sort of advice,
but like for like fans, like fan interactions, what would you tell those aspiring wrestlers? Like, this is what you have to do to get those fans and make sure they're on your side.
Cardona talks about it a lot. Is just, I mean, he put a video out today about, like, you know, somebody was telling him, he didn't mention a name, and I'm not sure where they were working. Might have been NWA somewhere. Somebody said to him, like, oh, dude, I'm trying to grind. I'm putting out, it's just not working. It's not working. He's like, let me look at your phone. You haven't tweeted in 3 days. He's like, dude, I tweet every 2 hours. He's like, what are you doing? Like, you think that's going to work? Just like, you know, sharing a poster every few days, or saying like, hey, can't wait to see you guys in, you know, like in Pocahontas, Tennessee on September 22nd. Now, that ain't going to work. Like that's not interacting with people. I tell people, dude, every interaction you have means something. It don't matter who it is. It don't matter. And I don't care if you're a heel or you're a face, whatever. Like, it don't do the whole, like, oh, I don't talk to fans because I'm a heel. No, dude, you still got to connect with them. Look at MJF. He was connecting with fans. He was an asshole to fans on Twitter, but good. It worked. It works. So, like, don't act like you're above people. Don't act like you're above fans. Don't act you're above fan interaction. Like, that's such BS. Like, again, we're not Roman Reigns. We're not John Cena. We don't have to just live and not be on Twitter and but get
Yeah.
get people to pay attention to us. We need that. That's the easiest way to do it. And you can't just go and be on shows and then share a few of your clips and think like, oh yeah, everyone's just gonna love me because I can do a cool sidewalk slam. No, no one cares, dude. Everyone wants people. At the end of the day, wrestling fans, they want to be interacted with. They want to engage. They want to engage with the audience. They want to engage with the wrestler, I should say. The wrestler needs to engage with the audience, and so that's what people want. They don't go to these indie shows. They're going to indie shows for a reason. It's like when you go to a bar and you see like a cover band or something, right? Like you're going because like it's more intimate. It's cooler. You get to, you feel like you're part of it more instead of going to see people go and see Taylor Swift, but it's like you're one of 60,000 people, but if you're in your bar, like you're one of 200 people, you feel like you're more part of it. And like, it's just like this is cool. It's more personal to me. Right. And that's what like an indie show is. And that's why I think every girls should work more indies. It's like, you shouldn't be like, oh no, I'm too good for indies. I can't. No, you should work because that's how you learn to see what works, how you learn to interact with a crowd. I say work as many as possible. Work some of the shindies. Don't do them forever, but if you're coming up and you're a new wrestler, work those bad shows because those matter too. Because you got to see what it could be like. You got to learn to work with bad people when things aren't going your way. Learn to work when there's 10, 15, 20 people in the crowd. Don't act like you're better than that shit. I tell people that all the time. And the best advice I give aspiring wrestlers right now, and I used to say the whole like mouth closed, ears open thing. No, whatever, BS, dude. Like, yeah, sure, be respectful to a point. But at the end of the day, you got to go for it, man. And like it sounds cliche. It sounds like something that everyone's going to tell you, but dude, find what works for you and roll with it. 95% of people in professional wrestling don't want you to succeed. That's the truth. They don't want it. They don't want you to be more over than them. That is the absolute God's honest truth. And once you understand that, and I finally understood that last year when Sam DM'd me, it finally clicked where I just said, dude, I got to start listening. I got to stop listening to everybody's advice. Even people that I might respect, I might see as a vet, and they've done more than me, but sometimes that advice doesn't work for everybody. Sure. Not every piece of advice works. Doesn't matter who it's coming from. I've gotten 2 pieces of advice from 2 guys you would consider like A-list wrestlers, right? Like on the top of their game. Everybody almost if you're a wrestling fan, they're both household names. They gave me in 2 weeks span, in the end of 2022, they gave me the complete opposite advice. The complete opposite advice on the same exact thing that I did and the same question I had. So you can't listen to every single person or respect everybody's opinion. You can respect their opinion. I can say that. You can respect their opinion. You don't got to listen to their opinion. So that's what I say.
Sure.
Form what you can do. Figure out what works for you. And if it doesn't work for somebody, it can work for a ton of other people. So don't think just because one person doesn't like it, it ain't going to work. I got told a ton, don't say 6'12". Don't say 6'12". That shit don't work. And my buddy Jadician in here, he can say this, that every person at the Disruptor show last weekend was chanting 6'12" the entire time. The entire time, because you know what? It's different. They remember it. There's been a ton of 7-footers. There's never been anybody at 6 feet 12 inches tall. Yeah. So that is something, like, if I listened to somebody and I was like, oh, maybe I should get rid of it, I would never have had that. Mm-hmm. So like it's just find what works for you, roll with it, be genuine, be yourself. I know this is said a lot. Be yourself turned up to 11, because that's what's going to get over, and that's what people are going to relate with.
I like it. So I have to ask this, just because you've also been teasing this throughout the week, and we're still waiting for it to happen. Capital City Clash. Have you been booked yet?
A little birdie told me that tomorrow might be the day. I don't know.
I've been saying that all week. Like, I just wanted to.
It's the last day. It's the last day. We got one more chance, man. Roll the dice one more time. Let's see. If Jeff Jarrett knows what's good for him, he better announce me. Because if he ain't, I'm showing up, and I'll take over the show the only way I know how. Right? Earthquake, pillar shake. You best your ass I will. From pillar to goddamn post, dude. I'll be there. So it better be announced. If it ain't announced, I'll be outside. I'll be breaking down the gates. I'll have all the troublemakers behind me. We'll rush the ring. We'll make it about us. We'll take the show over. So he's got one more day. There
we go. All right, now it's time. Now it's time for the hard question. The hardest question you're gonna get for the rest of your life, maybe. Mr. WrestleMania, Is it Shawn Michaels? Is it The Undertaker?
It's neither. It's Iron Sheik, and I'll tell you why it's Iron Sheik. Because in WrestleMania 17, he pulled the greatest stunt in the history of professional wrestling at the biggest stage of them all. At the last possible moment in the gimmick battle royal, he said, "I can't go over the top rope," and he carnied some of the biggest carnies in the world of professional wrestling, and that was the greatest carny moment that has ever, rest in peace, Bubba. That is the greatest moment in carny wrestling history. That at the last minute, he told the whole bunch of those 20 guys, "I ain't going over the top rope. Can't do it. I gotta win." And that is unbelievable. Rest in peace to a legend. He is forever Mr. WrestleMania.
All right.
Well said.
Did not see that one coming, but yeah, I can't argue at all. I can't argue.
No.
You sure can't, because it ain't because it's the right answer.
Ben, thank you so much for joining us. This has been an absolute pleasure. Before we let you go, where can everybody find you on social media? What do you have coming up in the days, weeks, and months to come? Where can everybody find you and get into some trouble?
Yeah, well, easy. At Big Trouble BB, Twitter and Instagram. It's the easiest way to find me. I'm on TikTok. Haven't figured it out. Might never figure it out, but it's a weird crowd on that app. I don't know if I'm very welcome, but Twitter and Instagram seem to do well. So I'm there, or X, whatever you want to call it these days. But yeah, you can find me there. And then coming up, man, I just made my first debut at Southern Honor Wrestling. Really excited for that. I'll be back there September 6th. And also for their anniversary show, October 11th. Other than that, Windy City Professional Wrestling in Sycamore, Illinois, September 14th. Stacked, going to be an awesome event. It's a 2-ring event. One ring is double the size of the other ring height-wise. So, and I don't love heights, which is pretty ironic. And other than that, I got, we'll see about Capital City Clash on the 21st. Disruptor Wrestling on September 20th. Trying to keep a busy schedule, trying to keep this momentum going, because I know how this wrestling shit is, man. It's up and down. Yeah. It's a roller coaster. You can have your ups, you're going to have your downs, but we're just going to keep it positive, keep it trucking. As always, we're going to keep the shades on, because the sun never sets on a cool guy.
Well, Jesus Christ. That's just unbelievably well said. Charisma for days, weeks, months. We greatly appreciate you joining us tonight, and thank you to everybody that has tuned in for this interview. Again, hit that QR code in the top left corner. Like, share, subscribe. Again, if you know one person who would enjoy our show, please do us a huge favor and share it with them. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to get to 1,000 subs by the end of the year, and we need your help to do it. I think the count right now is 328. So we got some work ahead of us, but if there's one thing the Wrestling Junkies like, it's a challenge. So, we will be
You'll get one from me, so we're getting one. You're getting one soon. So
see, Ben Bishop subscribes to this channel. See, if you really need any other endorsement, there it is, But thank you guys so much. Ben, stick around for a second after the stream, but for Big Trouble, for the podcast dad and Mr. Cincinnati, this has been the Wrestling Junkies Podcast. Thank you guys so much once again for tuning in, and we will see you guys on Monday.